Something's gotta change. 7.
Okay, greetings and salutations, Earthlings. I am Teresa Zube, an astrologer who forgot her entry thing to say in the beginning because I'm just not professional like that. And that's all right because we're kind of not professional here. But anyway, this is the Teresa Zube show and with my co-host Rosalinda, who is here from California.
Hola.
And hola. And so I know this will be the third one that we're doing now, and I feel more I feel more relaxed than I did, informal. But what I was thinking about this week is how sometimes we can worry. I know that I did, especially in the beginning, that I would do spirituality wrong or I didn't know how to do it. Um, and so I lurked on a lot of YouTube shit so that I could learn from other people how to do it right. And then I got to the part where I was like, wait, there is no right way to do it. So anyway. That's kind of what I wanted to rattle on about.
YouTube is very helpful.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I think that magic and spirituality is yours. I also think that there are wrong ways to do it.
Yes. Okay. So I'm with you on that. Um, Sometimes though, the people who look like they're doing it the most right are actually doing it wrong. Do you know what I mean? It's not like about the number of crystals you have or um the optics of what you're doing. It's like really, how are you being? You know what I mean? How do you be?
How do you be in spirituality? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a good rule of thumb is uh whatever you do, if it comes back to you times 3, are you okay with that?
That is the best rule ever. Like that's prevented me from doing well, it's prevented me from getting into witchier shit, honestly. I recognize and I love witchy shit. But it's really tempting to, when you're mad at somebody or I think the most valuable thing I ever read in that regard was the Four Agreements. What's that guy's name?
I don't remember. I know the book, but I don't remember his name.
Yeah, Miguel something. I don't know, but I remember reading in there one thing, and it's that your words and your thoughts are like daggers. So even if you're gossiping, to somebody who will never hear about somebody else, it still kind of sends daggers of energy out to them. And also, I feel it. I know when people be hating.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
it's a lot to spiritually protect yourself against, and I know what I'm doing, kind of, you know?
Yeah, I think I have, stuck to the practices of honoring ancestors. I think I have accidentally caused chaos in my own life by practicing spirituality wrong, but, you know, lessons are also spiritual.
Yeah, it's that's true too. Like there really is when you get deep into it, nobody really does anything wrong. We're all here learning. I don't mean it like that. Like, you know how I mean it. It's like in the grand scheme, I think we all end up in the same place eventually. Eventually. But um, no, there have been missteps. So that's funny. There are things that that you can do wrong. And I think that the what I was taking from it is sometimes people come to me and they'll be like, well, how do I bless something, or how do I celebrate the moon, or how do I do this or that? And with those things, it's nice to have a framework, because I think ritual is really important, but it's not necessarily the ritual that's important. It's what's happening within you as you perform the ritual that is important. And that people can create those on their own. Like,
Right.
yeah.
With uh with my specific nonprofit, I made the logo the green heart chakra because I would like to remember to do things from my heart. Because I think
Yeah.
when you act out of other places in spirituality and ritual, which I like in my nonprofit too, it's an offering. It's an
Hmm.
offering to the collective. Um, I I need to make sure that I operate from the heart, and I think that's more important than the sage you're using or the candles you're lighting or
Hmm.
the specific details. But I also have learned that there are recipes. So it just depends what you're doing. If you want good chocolate chip cookies, then you use good ingredients.
True, true.
If you don't really care what you get to eat, then I don't,
Just
maybe
throw it all together.
that's a terrible analogy, but I know that there are also recipes, and it's important to also follow the recipes if you want the outcome. La la la. I don't know. This is why we're doing a podcast because it's a lot to talk about and a lot to unpack, especially for people that are just starting.
Just
I think it's good to find people that have practiced spirituality, um, and glean from others and find what's right for you, because then it becomes your own thing.
right. It's a it it's a lot about intentions. And yes, it is nice to like prowl. The internet has tons of ways that you can do rituals and prayers and stuff like that. And I always like to come up um with my own, because I think when I'm speaking kind of from the heart, and not just saying something that's like rote memory or whatever, but then also I love like the Our Father prayer at AA meetings. They always say the Our Father prayer. So there's like a purpose in both. And I think what was on my mind when I came up with that subject is like for the eclipse. I don't really like to fuck with eclipse energy, but like I know I'm alone in that. Not alone, but like there are people with differing views. So like some people love that chaos energy, and I kind of have enough chaos energy going on in my life, but I don't know. So it's like what feels right to you, but also at the same time, what's the piece that I'm missing? I'm trying to figure out what it is that like I'm trying to get to the core of like you can make your own way, but there are ways to do things, but like I think it's about intention and what really feels right in your heart, you know?
Yeah, there's some people that I think just believe in God, and that's
Mhm.
it. No sage, no crystals, just living
Mhm.
life. No, no saying Psalm 91 when you get up or the Our Father. And some people are just hunky dory. Um, for me to have a life that's not chaotic, it has to center a lot around spirituality and starting with the intention. What are my intentions? What do I want for today? I want to be guided. I want to tune into my intuition. What are the best practices to help me do that? How can I go within to get myself out of whatever situation or get myself through, or I think it all comes back to, like what you said, going and finding out what is best for oneself. Um, and what the journey, the destination, and putting the intention of the destination, and then your journey can be, you know, 5 exits and 10 10 turning rights, and then you can get in the same, you know, as in the same spot as somebody else that was had all these rituals in place, all these
Yeah,
perfect recipes of spirituality. And when I
yeah.
say recipes, I think, yeah, there are specific recipes. You can buy books, you can look up on YouTube,
Mhm.
you can buy specific saint candles and all kinds of things.
I like the ones at the supermarket, like the thin. I know I have. Oh, hi. I love these ones.
I think I pick up a few every time I go to the grocery store.
Yeah, yeah. The guardian angel one is my favorite. But yeah, so you can create your own recipes. You can use tried and true recipes. I think that exploring what feels right is the best way to go. And hopefully this can kind of be a part of that, like this podcast. I know for me, when I came out of rehab, in sobriety, my spiritual practices needed to be, first of all, constant, daily, hourly, minutely, because I was staying sober, but also really, really, really fucking simple. And so I think that's why initially I was drawn towards Taoism, because Taoism is meditation. And then I also I do feel a little bit like a cheater because it's not like I'm a Taoist. It's just that's what spoke to me, but I don't run into many Taoist masters, like in my daily life. But reading the Tao Te Ching and just even just meditating on a stanza of that to get me to quiet my mind, and that was the most significant thing that I needed. But it didn't come with a whole lot of ritual other than meditation, because that was probably about all I could keep up with then.
Meditation and writing things
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, and writing. Yep. Reading. Um, so there was that. And then astrology just comes with all kinds of crazy shit that you can turn into a ritual, which I love, because they're fun. But like my friend Michelle here in Bernie does the moon circles. And since I have the kids and everything, I haven't been able to get to one in a while. But those are really, really cool. She does the ritual in that sense, like the moon circle. And I think that's really cool. Um, I do simple ones, like literally really simple, lighting a candle and journaling if I can't, because if I try to come up with something really awesome, I'll lose interest really quickly, or energy or whatever. I'll give up on it too quick. I know that.
I think that's why I love the community of moon circles. I like when other ladies are involved because everybody brings a piece to the table so it doesn't feel so overwhelming.
Yeah,
Tea, drums, incense, food,
yeah.
blankets, candles, journals. I love it when women come together and do things. And then when I do it by myself or do it with you, we've also gone very simple with
Mhm.
candle lighting and attentions, which I think has also provided some really incredible results. Just the intentions of us two sitting together and praying. So I wouldn't,
Two. How does that go?
where two or
Where
more are gathered, there I am.
There I am. Oh, I just got chills. Um, no, I agree. There's definitely something powerful about having community, and sometimes I take community for granted. And the fact that I have a lot of spiritual weirdos in my life. Yeah. And when I first got sober, I didn't. Because I was in Mississippi, which is like fine. But then in the AA community, there are a lot of people who are very Christian, and they didn't want to really hear about. I don't want to poo-poo because there were a lot of people who were really accepting. They were just like, girl, be sober. Like, we just want you to be fucking sober. But I didn't feel comfortable going off about like, oh my God, what about 5D? You know, um, and and I wear my freak flag kind of like today I told the dental hygienist, she's like, what is your job? What do you do for work? And I said, I'm an astrologer. And I go, not an astronomer, because people always make that mistake. I'm like, astrologer, like Pisces and she's like, oh. And then I could tell it was really funny. Anyway, what was I talking about?
Well, tell me the rest of the reaction.
So she was cleaning my teeth, and then she started to ask me a bunch of questions, and I hate that. But it was cool because she was like, "Well, so how does that work? Like, what do you tell people?" And she's like, "I wouldn't want to know my future." And I go, "It's not like that. Like, maybe some people use astrology for that, but I told her, I'm like, when people come to me, they want to be better people, or they want to feel better, or they want to understand, why things are the way they are for them. And I was like, I take I approach my work with a lot of integrity. Like, I never want somebody to walk away and say, I'm gonna do this because she said so. And I said this all like, like not really, but every time she kept taking the thing out, like the appointment took longer because she kept asking questions. And she was like, huh, like I could tell she thought it was kind of cool, but she was a real science chick. You know what I mean? And then come to find out, her father passed away
Mm,
recently.
mm,
And she said, there's something about losing him that has
mm.
really opened me up to stuff like that. So isn't that synchronistic, Um, anyway, but then she was telling me about a psychic, and it was John Edward. John
Mm,
Edwards? Yeah. And she said she read a book by him.
mm.
So anyway, it was cool. It was cool.
I
But
like
that's because I am free. I feel free. You can't always tell people that. Like, I'm always a little bit anxious because I do live in Texas, but I am often surprised by how open-minded people are when I tell them what I do.
I would like to say that it's been all the freaks that have flown their flags for so long that it's getting easier to come out of the closet.
To do it, exactly. I mean, that's yeah. It still is weird telling somebody when they're like, "What do you do for work?" Um, but I decided to stop saying housekeeping, even though I still do that. But astrologer sounds cooler. Now, tarot, that you got to find out about me after you get to know me, because that one will make people a little bit more, you know, people have a stronger reaction to tarot than astrology.
I I guess I get it. I mean, maybe I was there at one point. I think I was afraid of tarot cards for a while. I remember we did an opera, Carmen, and she's a gypsy, and there's a scene where she reads tarot, or one of her friends does, and I couldn't even go to the magic store in town. I made the pianist go buy the tarot cards because I was too afraid to go into a place called the Crystal Barn, which was, the town's like, "Oh my gosh, that's the witch's store. That's demonic. Don't go in there." So I
Yeah.
made I made her go in.
That's really, I can't picture that.
And now I'm like, I wonder where those cards are. They must be in some kind of prop box somewhere. Because I remember they were really beautiful gold edged cards because we wanted them to
I
sparkle
love
on
the
stage.
I love the edges.
Yeah. So, and then fast forward 10 years, the Crystal Barn owner and I became very good friends. And she supported the nonprofit, came out to our Day of the Dead show. And actually, she just passed away this year. So
Um,
we will be celebrating her at Day of the Dead, but also she was really somebody that made space in this small Central Valley town for people that were s- spiritual spiritually different than the church crowd. And so I really appreciated that about her because I can't imagine that that would, was easy to begin,
yeah,
to start, to walk through because our town's very conservative, which I also appreciate. I appreciate the conservatism in some cases, and then
mhm,
in other cases, when you feel like you just might be burnt at the stake again.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, I was watching that. That's right. There's a bunch of things that happened this week that made me want to talk about this stuff because I ran across a somebody did a YouTube video about Doreen Virtue. Do you know who that is?
Mm-mm.
So she had done I kind of remember it. I think she was big back in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, whatever, when the movie The Secret came out.
Mm.
But she did a bunch of like angel decks. I have some of them here. Um, anyway, somewhere. Oh, here. And we'll pull one just in honor of her,
Yeah.
just to kind of be a thorn in her side because she in 2019, I think, was saved. And she was very, very vocal and made a lot of fucking money doing tarot cards and all of that. And then all of the sudden, she was saved. I think she probably dabbled in some darker stuff or was in, you know what I mean? Or encountered something darker. And, but, she in my humble opinion, she didn't humble herself after getting saved and immediately jumped into the fray, teaching Christianity and selling books about having been in the new age and then being a new believer. So I think she's a grifter,
Mm.
like she's probably still making a lot of money. And I know that I remember a few years back when Saturn was in Pisces specifically. Saturn in Pisces is kind of like restriction and overcoming up and obstacles being put in the way and of Piscean things, which mystics and spirituality and stuff like that can be. And I felt like I would see a lot of videos on YouTube of like, I used to be a psychic and
Mm.
you know, um, and then I heard somebody say, well, yeah, they must not have done very well being a psychic, and they figured out they could make more money
Mm.
being a saved psychic. Anyway, so I like to pull Doreen Virtue's cards sometimes because she told everyone to burn her decks, not even just throw them out or donate them. Yeah, she said actually she said throw them out. Don't donate them or give them away. Throw them out or burn them because we don't want anybody to get their hands on those are the devil's cards, like, or whatever. Prosperity. Yeah, she was just trying to get rich. And she is. Archangel Ariel, your material needs are provided as you follow your intuition and manifest your dreams into reality. That's for us.
Ooh, beautiful.
Yeah. But I've got these from a lady who had passed away because they're not in circulation anymore.
Well, you have a
Yeah.
limited demonic
Yeah.
edition.
Yep. The Doreen. Um,
Virtue.
but virtue. And she picked that name. Like, that's just not a very humble name either. You're going to give yourself the last name of virtue. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's just, I don't like the, I am a former cigarette smoker. I'm a former alcoholic. And dude, smoke your butt off, drink your brains out. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? I'm not here to tell anybody what to do. And so I don't like the fact that she made a lot of money off being a reader and then all of a sudden turn around and is saying that it's the devil.
Sounds very Gemini.
I wonder when her birthday is. Does sound Gemini. Although I love Geminis.
I do too. I mean,
Yeah. Love.
love to all the signs, but sometimes there are pains in the butt. That's all.
I know. Well, so my nephew is a Gemini. He's a Gemini Scorpio rising.
Well,
Yeah, Gemini and Scorpio catch the most hell. But one time he was like, "Why does everybody hate Geminis?" And I'm like, "Dude, here's people, you know, people people don't understand Geminis, but you got to figure out what's going on." I was like, "You know how you like to talk a lot and like you always, are talking to people and all that." And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, what happens is Geminis see both sides of everything.
mm,
So they get themselves in trouble, not only for having like, appearing two different ways, but I'm like, imagine this friend is fighting with that friend. And you go over and you hear this friend and you're like, oh yeah, that's kind of messed up, huh? But then you go over and you talk to this friend and you hear their side. Like Geminis can just see all sides of everything. And so people think that they are two-faced or traitors, but really they're just perceptive. You know
mm.
what I mean? But it gets them in the middle of a lot of shit. So
Stay out of the middle, Geminis.
stay out the middle. Exactly.
Just kidding. Do you, Woos? You do you.
Now look at me. I'm glowing. Ah, the light at this time of day, but it's
It
still
looks
better
good.
dark, does it? Yeah, I think my computer screen is just weird. Because it does always look better when I watch it later, but I don't know.
I feel sad for people like Doreen
Yeah.
Virtue. I think also because I've heard it from the time that I've turned spiritual, whatever that means. Talking about astrology and even yeah, just talking about astrology has gotten me so much attention of, I think I need to take you to church feelings. But uh, I will reiterate till the end of time that, you know, for people who are Christians, which I think that that's you're Texas and surrounded by, I'm here surrounded. I just think that the whole part of the Bible that is missing about women in mystical teachings, and there's so much left out, and so
Mhm.
much of the women capacity to be the woo woos is not in there, so it's so discounted. Every time you talk about anything, you're accused of being a witch, and you're not supposed to practice that. And then think about Moses, who threw his staff on the ground and it turned into a snake, and nobody ever says anything about that. And Jesus spit into mud and put it into a blind person's eye, and they saw again, and nobody says anything about that. But if a woman were to do that, well, string her up and light the match.
Mhm.
So I think people like Doreen that's sad because there's probably a lot of stuff that hasn't ever been mentioned that would have her seeing Christianity different. But
Yeah.
whatever. We all have our own paths, and we're not here to judge. We're
Yeah.
just here to help those who care to listen.
I don't know. Any anything else that you have on your mind?
Just encourage everybody to follow your channel for more astrology updates.
Yes, I'm really throwing myself into it.
I love it.
Yay.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. All right, guys. Well, thank you. This has been the Teresa Zube Show with Rosalinda. Oh, just say a little bit, please, about your nonprofit because you are incredible.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
There's a nonprofit called Green Rose Productions out of California. We put on high quality theater and YouTube shows, always involving people with disabilities, because I like to highlight that population. I think if the world is prepared to host people with special needs, then we're all better off for it. Our next event is Day of the Dead on November 1st. So send out your prayers, and everybody out there too. It's a time to prepare and get ready to honor the ancestors. Collect your pictures of people that have passed. Sometimes that's one of the hardest things is to get your hands on pictures of your ancestors. So
Hmm.
get going, start framing things, and I think that's the best spiritual practice to start with. If you don't know what you're doing, is to honor your ancestors
Your ancestors. Absolutely.
and ask your intuition which ones want the highest and best for you, because that's also important. You don't put the stinky ones on your altar.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless they've done their penance, I don't know. I don't know how it works. I think you can pray for them after they're dead, but
Yeah. Yeah. But you don't want to ask them to do your bidding if
right. If
they're not on your side.
they're still grumpy about some things, nah.
Exactly. Awesome. No, Rosalind is incredible, and you can follow her on Instagram and Facebook. Just look for Green Rose Productions, right?
Mhm.
And YouTube, actually. I'll link it below.
Sounds great.
Really.
Thank you, Teresa.
All right. Love you,
Love you
and
too.
bye, everybody. Peace. Namaste.
Bye.
Bye-bye.